Hello everybody, thank you for joining me for session 2 on A Touch of Autumn. And I've already pre-mixed out the tones I'm going to be using on the palette here, so we didn't have to waste time with that, showing you. And I'm using, in case you don't remember, titanium white, ivory black, yellow ochre, and Cadmium Red Light. And I'm going to get started here and do the second layer on the piece, and we'll go from there. Try to get away with these two brushes, a size 12 and a size 4. Size 12, size 4, Expression by Robert Simmons. I really like these brushes. These are actually a little bit old. The rounds are kind of nice for blending once they get a little worn out. So let's get going. And the medium, of course, is the, I mentioned before, stand oil and turpentine mixed together. It's still like thinned out a bit. Next time I'd like a little more stand oil in there. Helps the paint put on firm and stay there. So, let's get rolling. And I'm practicing the zoom on the camera here for a person that commented on the video, trying to do more close-up. And we'll see how it works out. I hope it does. I apologize for the previous one not being close enough. We'll give it a shot here. And of course, this previous layer has dried. We'll see how the wet goes over the dry. Get some nice effects. And it's kind of nice mixing out the strings of values I'm going to be using, at least most of them. So I can just keep rolling along and subtly changing things as I need to by dipping into other piles of pre-mixed paint. I don't have to stop and worry about it. And I'm just putting a little highlight right around this edge of the pumpkin and the acorns, just to set them off a little bit. Subtle, but it's there. And it may look different to you. Well, you're not seeing the view that, but in the previous session, the view of the still life and the painting were visible. And of course, don't forget the camera's in one spot and I'm a couple feet over, so things could look a little different. And honestly, I'm not looking for an exact, I mean, I want the flavor of it, of course. In hindsight, with the drawing, the pumpkin's a little more squat in real life, but it's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. And just about getting some practice with still life, and yes, I could have measured and been very exacting, but I didn't want to kill the spontaneity of it, so I wanted to keep it kind of on the fly and just respond. I like doing these still lifes. They're very, very fun to do, especially if you want to play around with the limited palettes and things of that nature. And I'll probably do more of these as the winter season sets in. Right now here in Maine, we're going to be having apparently 3 days of rain. So maybe I might get brave and go out. My car is set up in such a way I could probably paint from the back of it with the hatchback up. So maybe get some breaks in the rain and do some moving clouds, gray day kind of stuff. We'll see. Depends on how messy it is. All right. So right now, to get the zoom, like I said, I think I've mentioned already, I have to have the iPad on, shooting regular video, not time-lapse like I normally do, so that I can have the zoom feature. For whatever reason, you can't do that in time-lapse. So, that's a bummer, but so I'll have to download this in YouTube and time-lapse some parts. Because some of this is just, of course, filling in. And the light behind me in my studio here, because of course we don't want to have a big bright light on and wash out the still life too much, catching just a bit of glare on this left-hand corner. So I'll have to compensate somehow and make sure I'm not getting too crazy with the color and that sort of thing. So we'll see how that goes. All right, as I come into, and I kind of like sometimes if you get the value, it's not going to be a perfect match to the previous value, but it'll be interesting because it's almost like you're creating texture in the cloth. So take a little look-see here. Well, this concludes session 2 of Touch of Autumn, and really like how it turned out. I do a little zoom in, see how well the iPad picks up. Try to hold it steady. The lighting in here is probably not the greatest, but for a limited palette, the Zorn palette, pretty happy with it. So I want to thank you for watching, and for the subscribers out there, thank you for subscribing. And for others that are not yet, I invite you to do so. Thanks again. Bye.